unseal the grand jury indictments against the last 3 defendants in the murder of John Derrick Chamberlain. The indictments in this report are the work of 19 citizens who volunteered and dedicated 9 hard months to public service. Not many of us are willing to do that. During the 9 months of service by the special grand jury, 79 witnesses were called, 335 documents were examined. Because of the voluminous nature of the transcripts in this case and the nature of the case, I predicted that it would be about 8 weeks before the documents, or before the transcripts would be made public. And thanks to the hard work by court reporters and by my staff, today we are able to bring the transcripts, make those transcripts public, and also to bring the investigative report from the 2007 Special Grand Jury inquiry into the death of John Derrick Chamberlain. The Special Criminal Grand Jury was impaneled on May 17, 2007. The purpose of the grand jury was to investigate whether any Orange County Sheriff personnel were criminally liable for their failure to properly perform their assigned duties, as well as whether there were additional inmates responsible for the murder. If we could have proven a case that any member of the Sheriff's Department, from the lowest to the highest rank, was criminally responsible for the death of Mr. Chamberlain, there is no question that indictments would have been issued. Frankly, going into this process, I expected that there would be some charges brought, particularly based on the initial information that I received and my impressions of the case. But at the end of this investigation, I can tell you that there is insufficient evidence to support any charges against any sheriff personnel. You've had a chance to read the district attorney's report. The 90-plus page document summarizes all of the evidence uncovered by this grand jury during the 9 months of investigation. The report will be posted on our website at the end of the press conference, and you'll also have an opportunity to personally examine the transcripts. As the district attorney of Orange County, and as a citizen and a taxpayer, I absolutely can't tell you how distressed I am in some of the evidence that we uncovered. The first issue I have is with some of the deputies who ran the Theo Lacey detention facility. I'd like to express my disappointment, my frustration in the conduct of certain members of the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Their conduct is shocking and unacceptable. We cannot tolerate a penal system that allows criminals to run the jail. The only punishment that should ever be received in the jail is the punishment that's handed down by a judge. The jailers of the Sheriff's Department are full, sworn deputies and police officers. The main goal of the deputies described in this case was to do the least amount of work possible while collecting their paychecks. Watching television shows like Cops, watching movies, playing video games, sleeping. I repeat, sleeping. There was also evidence of institutionalized laziness. That is, protecting each other's incompetence and warning each other about VIPs coming, or people who knew what was going on, or people who might have authority, warning each other about their presence by what they call Code 1012. The specific rules and policies of the jail are set for a reason, to protect the security of all of the people in the jail. It's not acceptable for a civilized society to allow inmates to run the jail. The only punishment anyone deserves, even if the crimes are unsavory and despicable, is the one handed down by the judge, by the justice system. Jailers should not be using shot collars or requiring inmates to govern themselves. My second disappointment was with the decision makers of the Orange County Sheriff's Department who insisted on investigating a murder that took place in their own facility. their own house. This was contrary to every rule, protocol, and historical precedent that we have here in Orange County. This continued even after they knew that some of the inmates had implicated their own personnel. Third was the behavior of the law enforcement officers who lied to the grand jury. They lied to the grand jury and broke their admonishment that was given to them by the grand jury not to discuss their testimony with others, including key witnesses. I was also disappointed in the lack of cooperation by some sheriff's decision makers who repeatedly delayed the grand jury process by misleading the grand jury and playing games with the subpoena process. They maintained this resistance even when they were told by their own staff about facts that contradicted their opinion, their position, and even as they were questioned by two separate grand juries. An independent investigation is necessary for two reasons. One, to determine if a police officer committed criminal wrongdoing, and two, to assure the public that the investigation was fair and thorough, even if there was no wrongdoing found. We, as representatives of the public, have no interest in keeping bad cops in their jobs. I hope this grand jury investigation has settled the question as to why it's important that there needs to be an independent investigation. This report establishes that the murder of John Chamberlain may have been prevented if existing policies and procedures have been followed. This report will not answer all of our questions. I hope it begins an informed dialogue about how the county may avoid such deaths in the future. I look forward to working with the Board of Supervisors, the newly informed Office of Internal Review, the Orange County Sheriff's Department, to figure out how and which reforms we need to make and how they might be